So it would all be decided on a Sunday afternoon and a nationally televised in the U.S., that is. It'll be televised across Canada, but that goes without saying. This game would come from the Boston Garden and would be on the CBS television network. Once again, Frank Orr kind of sets the scene for us, and he gives us some words about the coaching of Al McNeil, which might be diametrically opposed to what we would hear later on in the playoffs. Frank said that the Montreal Canadiens really don't have a great deal to lose in Boston on Sunday afternoon. Oh, the Canadiens might blow the seventh game of the quarterfinal to the Boston Bruins, but merely being in a seventh game is an accomplishment of considerable magnitude for the rebuilding team and its rookie coach, Al McNeil. By winning 3 games from powerhouse Bruins following a rather inconsistent season, Canadiens regained the respectability they abandoned with last season's playoff miss and this year's midterm coaching change when McNeil replaced Claude Ruel. McNeil's frequent lineup juggles were criticized by Montreal fans and press during the season, mainly because the Canadiens were staggering most of the way. Fortunately for McNeil, results dictate reaction, and his latest line shuffles produced Thursday's 8-3 Montreal victory and earned him genius accolades from the same folks who called him a chump on earlier occasions. So Sunday afternoon arrived. A packed, sweaty Boston Garden had an atmosphere of both anticipation and dread as the climax of one of the most memorable playoff series in many years was about to unfold. We'll let this highlight package with the voice of the legendary Dan Kelly and a few others tell the story.
Puts the Bruins ahead, 1-0 into the Bruins zone with Muhammad. The pass to Muhammad, he scores! 2.5 minutes left in the period. Pete Muhammad. Hard shot! They score!
Bruins are going to have to change entirely. They look like a tired team. They've lost their fire and spark, and certainly the kind of aggressiveness that won them so many games this year.
Smith checked by Muhammad to Lemaire. Lemaire tried to flip it in front. Here's Tremblay at the point, moving in. The shot! He scores! Tremblay! Back to Orr. He's set by Mahavlich. Ahead to Lemaire. Moving in. To Mahavlich. He scores! Frank Mahavlich set up by Lemaire. Youth extended past the field. Oh, and Dryden, a brilliant save.
If you had to look at any one man this afternoon, it's got to be Ken Dryden, who's been playing a magnificent net. He simply got them intimidated. No matter what they've done this afternoon, this big guy at 6'4", well over 200 pounds, has had the nets covered up.
And the Bruins, the defending Stanley Cup champions, are out of it. And they line up to congratulate the victorious Montreal Canadiens.
I know you're going to have plenty of time to think about it, and people are going to remind you, but you seem to be flat. Everybody seemed to be flat, particularly today when I thought they'd come out banging.
I wish I knew the answer, Don, and whatever it was, we would have tried to correct it earlier, but we just didn't play hockey. We didn't skate. I know we're going to get the razzmatazz about being too happy with the season that's gone by, but we're professional athletes, and I know damn well that we were being satisfied with the season.
There was one guy that stands out in my mind as the reason for the Bruins losing the first round of the playoffs. It has to be Ken Dryden.
So that was it. The unthinkable had happened. The mighty Bruins had been dismissed by the upstart Canadiens in what was probably one of the greatest hockey upsets of all time. Dick Beddoes in the Toronto Globe and Mail on Monday described how many Canadians felt when the Bruins went down right on the American national television. And if you ever watch Dick's short-lived TV show on CHCH in Hamilton, you can really just hear his voice in these comments as he said, "Okay, Mr. Bandmaster, strike up the Maple Leaf Rag or Alouette. Hit a few bars of Indian Love Call or Frere Jacques. Tell the Mounties to go get their Smokey and the Bear hats cleaned and blocked. Get the moose off the main drag in Etobicoke so we can have a parade. Get out the snowshoes and the Huskies and mush on down to the trading post for a pail of rot gut to toast Montreal Canadiens." Cancel the Bonspiel just for tonight. Put Bobby Orr's picture back in the overset. Hey, Clarence Campbell, hang a light on the North Pole, will ya? Be a Canada firster. Ring up the fleur-de-lis beside the maple leaf flag. Let's keep the Canadians in Confederation and waffle anybody who deems otherwise, even the NDP. As for the Bruins, at the game's conclusion, they sat there on their bench, basically stunned. Some were physically ill at the thought of having lost. Some sat there and quietly wept. But they all knew they'd been on the wrong side of history and on the wrong side of one of hockey's ever greatest series. Derek Sanderson summed up how he felt once again for the great Frank Orr. Derek said, "They call this a game of inches, don't they? Well, we proved it today. We were missing on everything. Shots, passes, and checks by a very thin margin." Derek went on to describe the great goaltending of Ken Dryden and the underrated efforts of Henry Richard and Yvon Cornway, whom he described as much stronger and more aggressive than he used to be. He summed up his statement by saying Montreal clutched and grabbed beautifully.